The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio with April and Eric Perry. Let's move onward and upward together.
Hello and welcome to episode 47 of Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and here at Learn, Do, Become, we talk about architecting a life of excellence. We help people who are drowning in the details of life to develop simple systems so they can do what matters most. Now, we recently had a family Let's Get Organized training event. This idea came to me one afternoon and I was so excited. We typically have an evening like Monday nights where we hang out together as a family and we try to have lessons sometimes, or we do a fun outdoor activity or something like that. And this time I thought, I'm going to take the principles we've been teaching at Learn, Do, Become and help our children really come to understand them better. I was so thrilled about it. I recorded a little pre-training event podcast, so that's going to come first, a little recording there for you. Then I will tell you how it went afterwards. And then I brought our daughter Grace on to share a little bit about her story and how she's made it happen. Now, you're definitely going to want to go to the show notes page for this one because the worksheet that I used for our children, we actually have it available for you just to print and use. It's super simple. And we have photos and more descriptions and all the stuff that I used for our family, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So go to learndobecome.com/episode 47 for all of that great stuff to support you. And we'll go ahead and jump right into today's podcast. Stay tuned at the end if you want an update on what's going on in my life and at Learn, Do, Become, and with all the excitement as we're working to build 25,000 step command centrals. So excited. Okay, we'll jump in now. All right, friends, it is Monday at 5:41, and I'm just going to share with you what I'm going to be teaching our children tonight. I just outlined it. I'm pretty excited, but I want to let you know where we are right now and what's going on. So one of our teenagers is at an exercise class right now and should be back in about 15 minutes. She helped to make our dinner tonight, so that's in the oven and will be ready in about 15 minutes. I have a son. I just took him on an errand, and he's now just resting and reading for a little bit. I have another son at piano lessons. Eric's doing some work in the office, and I'm here recording with you. We're going to be having dinner. Then we have about an hour together as a family, and that's where I'm going to be teaching them about calendars and projects and routines and tasks and things like that. And we're going to see how it goes. Now, everyone's a little bit tired. I'm going to do it right after dinner, so hopefully no one will be hungry or cranky. But I know that their attention span isn't going to be super long after a long day at school, and they're going to be a little bit tired. So I'm trying to make sure that what I'm teaching them is really succinct, and I'm really hopeful it's going to work well, but I'll let you know how it goes afterwards. So this is what I have outlined and envisioned for the evening. After we have dinner, we kind of clean up the dinner plates. We're all going to sit in the dining room, and I'm going to give everyone some markers and some blank pieces of paper. I have some cardstock that I think will look a little nicer. So we're going to each create a little goal brainstorm, kind of like a vision board, but just on a basic sheet of cardstock. And I'm going to ask them the following questions. Who do you want to become? What do you want to achieve? Where do you want to go? What would you like to do for others? What do you want to have? Now, they may come up with some additional questions, but the idea is that this will help them think about their future families, their future education, perhaps what they want to do as a profession. Maybe it'll help them think about their short-term goals. And I also want them to be thinking in a service-minded way. So that's why I have the question about what would you like to do for others. But I'm going to put these questions up, probably just on my computer screen, have them look at them, and then create on their little vision board some pictures or words, whatever they want. But we'll set the timer for 10 minutes and just keep it short. This doesn't have to be totally complete, but I at least want to get them thinking, and I'm going to go through the process as well. So all of us should do it together. So that's part one. Then part two is where I'm going to help just define our STEP support resources. And I'm actually going to print out a little sheet of paper for each person, and we're going to go through and fill in the blanks. So here's what I've put together. For calendar, it says, this is where you record blank and blank that need to be done on a certain blank or at a specific blank. Okay, so what that's going to say is this is where you record appointments and tasks that need to be done on a certain date or at a specific time. So we'll see what they come up with, and then we'll give them the answers there. And then I have a little follow-up question. How will you remember to actually do these things? And my hope is that we'll have a conversation about how we have a calendar and we look at it and we have it posted or we review it if it's on our phone or something like that. Only one of our children has a smartphone at this point with a calendar. The others would need to have it in a book or paper or something like that. Okay, next is projects. Here's what I have written on the fill in the blank paper. These are blank-blank tasks that can actually be blank. And they are organized by blank. Okay, it'll say these are multi-step tasks that can actually be completed, meaning they're not routines, and they are organized by priority. Okay, then we're also including a follow-up question. Can you hear the piano below me? Now my son's playing the piano. Okay, it says, where would it make sense to keep this list? So I want to be able to kind of put in their minds the idea that once you've recorded these multi-step tasks, these projects that you need to do, you don't just want to shove it in a drawer. You want to actually have them posted or available or somewhere where you can review them. Next is routines. These are tasks you do blank and blank again, over and over again, and they are organized by how blank they need to be completed. That's how often they need to be completed. And then we'll ask where would it make sense to keep this list? So maybe another thing like posting it or keeping it somewhere near your desk, or if you have Evernote and a smartphone, you can keep it there, something like that. And then finally, it's next actions. These are blank-blank tasks that move projects toward blank, and they are organized by blank. If you would rather see all of these fill-in-the-blank sentences, we'll put them on the show notes page so you can go there. But the way we'd fill this one out is by saying these are one-step tasks that move projects toward completion, and they are organized by context. And we'll explain that that means by where you are when you're getting them done. And then we'd ask, where would you keep a list like this? You're working from it throughout the week. I'll show them mine in my planner. They've seen it, but I want them to be able to think about their own list. Okay, so then once we've gone through this fill in the blank exercise, which I'm hoping will take about 5 or 6 minutes, maybe a little longer, maybe 10 max, then we're going to go into part 3, where we're going to practice categorizing tasks and projects. So I've just decided we're going to work on calendar items, projects, and routines. And I've created a list of several of each so that they can look at them. I think I'm going to print this out and then cut them into little strips and then have them put them in the appropriate spot. So here's what I came up with. Brushing teeth, learning to cook a new meal, orthodontist appointment on Tuesday, washing the car, taking a driving test at the DMV on a Monday, feeding the dog, increasing your ACT score by 3 points, reorganizing your room, learning to play a challenging song on the piano, making your bed, babysitting for a neighbor Friday night, attending a concert on the 12th, special movie night with friends next Saturday, going to school or work, and then I have a few more. So that was about half that I just read. I don't want to read all of them, but I'll put all of them on the show notes page if you want to read through. But I just went through and thought, okay, what are routines my children are doing? What are calendar items that might come up in my children's lives? What are projects that they are working on right now or they need to be working on right now? And we're just going to go through those and just have them practice, because I want to be very clear that things that are done on a specific day or at a specific time go on the calendar. Things that have to be done over and over again, like brushing your teeth and making your bed, those things go on a routines list. And then projects are the bigger things, like finding that summer internship or building a business or something like that. So hopefully we can get those done in about 5 minutes or less. Then we'll move to part 4, where they will identify next actions for the projects that we identified in part 3. So it says, looking at the projects you identified above, what would be the next specific visible activity that you could do in 10 minutes or less that would move each project forward? And we're just going to practice. Like our son Spencer is 11 and he loves starting businesses. He rarely actually persists with a business, but he has all kinds of ideas. So looking at this business he's actually looking to start right now, he's already outlined his flyer this morning before school. He's going to be the odd job guy and he wants to just do random jobs for people in the neighborhood, which I think is great. I think he'll do a really good job with that. So we're just going to ask him, well, what's your next step? You've got the flyer outlined. What do you need to do next? So he can decide, oh, do we want to have it formatted better? Or do I just want to go ahead and print it as is? Or do I need to start messaging some neighbors? Do I want to put it in a text and message neighbors? But we want to teach him how to brainstorm next actions and then how to decide what the very next action would be. So then once we identify these next actions, then we'll talk about where they would go in part 5, where we're going to help them create their own calendar, projects list, routines list, and next actions list. So I just have those 4 areas just outlined with kind of basic instructions. Like for calendar, basically our children just need to decide, are you going paper or digital? If they want to use a Google Calendar, they could. Our children do have access to a family computer or to my smartphone. Our daughter does have a smartphone. So they could decide if they want to go digital or paper. Like we have a wall calendar or they have a planner that they got with school. So I want them to really decide, like, what's your calendar? Where are you going to be looking on a daily basis to see what you have? Then projects list. I'm just going to give them each a sheet of paper and have them brainstorm all the projects that they are doing right now or need to do soon. Like our son is working on getting his driver's license. Our daughter is working on, a certain project for school, things like that. Then we're going to star the 2 to 5 projects that they're working on this month for either personal, school, or extracurricular activities. Now, in our STEP program, we typically recommend about 7 to 8 projects maximum for parents to work on, but that includes personal projects, family projects, and professional or volunteer projects. I think children, usually 2 to 5 projects is maximum since they're not running a household or running a family, or typically they're not employed. So 2 to 5 projects should cover it. If we need to stretch it a little bit, that's fine. But I want to help the children see some of these projects are going to be current. That means those 2 to 5 projects, and then some are going to be next in line. You can keep that next in line list near, behind, somewhere else for reference. But I want to teach them that you don't need to be overwhelmed by every project in the world. You don't have to do 50 things at a time. You need to just do 2 to 5 a month, and that will consistently help you build momentum as you move forward. Then for their routines list, I'm going to give them each a sheet of paper and have them across the top write daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. And then we're just going to write all their routines. Especially, I want my boys, what do you need to do daily? Let's talk about the basic stuff that needs to happen daily to maintain personal hygiene, a clean bedroom, your responsibilities. Because you know what? It seems like there's a whole lot of reminding going around. So I want to make sure that they know what they need to do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. And then we'll decide where they want to post it or where they want to put it so that they can review it often. And finally, we're going to work on their next actions. And I think we're going to start with a sheet of paper. Our daughter might choose to do it with a Post-it note inside of her planner, or she might want to do it using an app on her smartphone. So we'll need to decide where she wants to use it. But we want to make sure our children know what their contexts are, where they might find themselves when they're trying to work on some of their projects. For example, for me, it's things like home, phone calls, errands, computer, to discuss. Our children, I'm thinking it's home independent work and home talking with mom and dad, because there's times when dad and I are doing something else so that they need to be independently working on something. And I need them to have a list of things they can do when we're not available or, we're in a meeting or something like that. Then school, when they're at the school, what are they doing? Are there things they could do at the school library? Are there questions they need to ask the chemistry teacher or the math teacher for a review or about a grade? Those need to be tasks that they can get done at the school or on the computer. When they do have time, either in the computer lab or home on the home computer, what are they doing? Typically, our kids aren't making a lot of phone calls. They could add that. But I think homeschool, computer, and then having home divided by independent work and talking with mom and dad could be helpful. If they have errands that they need as well, typically they're scheduling those with us, except our daughter who drives, she may have an errands one. And then we'll just have them write their next actions for their current projects on that list. then show them that throughout the week, they need to be checking this list when they're in the appropriate context, and then complete what's on that list. It should be short and simple so they can actually get it done. Now, I have no idea how this is going to go. I know it sometimes feels a little bit complicated, like, oh man, you're giving your kids projects list and they're tiered and they're having routines lists and next actions, and kids don't work by context. But you know what? I've been learning a lot about how our brains work. And I believe that when we teach our children how to structure their tasks and their projects, I think it's actually going to relieve their stress. They've been doing these things with us for a long time. I think they generally get it, but applying it to their own lives, I don't feel like I've ingrained that enough in them. And I at least want to teach them and have this available to them. So wish me luck. I'll report back. I have now time traveled about 2 weeks into the future. We've had spring break and one of our children got their wisdom teeth out, and there's been a lot going on around here. But I do want to report back on how the evening went. I'm actually really pleased with what happened because I set it up knowing people were going to be tired. The kids weren't going to want to sit at the table for a long time. And so we made it really short and simple. Eric participated and it worked really well. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the 5 parts, explain what worked, if anything didn't work, and where we are right now. Part 1 was where we gave each child a piece of paper and asked them to write their revision. Eric and I did this as well. I literally set the timer for 10 minutes, and I took those questions that I had read earlier on the podcast and just had them up on the computer. It was inside my Evernote. I just kind of zoomed in, had the questions right there so they could look at them, and then they were able to draw some pictures and write some keywords and things like that. And it would be really, really great to do this in more depth as a family in the future. But 10 minutes was at least a good way to start the idea of thinking about where we want to go in the future. And the reason why we're learning how to organize tasks and projects and routines and things like that is because we care about what's happening to our children in the future. So everyone did this. It worked out really well. Part 2 really was just 5 to 6 minutes. I gave everyone the worksheet. They all got it. The 11-year-old, the 15-year-old, and the 16-year-old. Everyone was able to fill out the worksheet. They were able to match the words with the blanks, and it worked great. So we do have that worksheet available for you. Go to learndobecome.com/episode 47, and you can grab it there. Okay, part 3, that was where we did the categorizing. I had typed out a whole list of some calendar items, some routines, some projects, and I just seriously got a pair of scissors and just kind of cut them into random strips. Now, our daughter Grace, who's running our Instagram account, then took those strips and made them look way better, and she colored some headings and made them look great. So she just said, Mom, this really needs to look better if you're going to post it. So maybe I'll include both photos so you can see how it really went, and then how Grace made it look lovely, which is nice to have someone around who can make things look lovely, but that's not my forte. But it was wonderful. We just laid out all of these things. And initially, the children thought, yeah, that does look a little overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff. If you have a list that looks like that, it feels overwhelming. But then when they categorized those little slips of paper into calendar items, routines, and projects, they could see how by grouping things into different categories, it just made it so much easier to look at, easier to wrap their brains around, easier just to think about. And they were able to transform something overwhelming into something manageable, which is ideally what we want for our children. Part 4 was really good practice. We just looked at the projects, identified next actions. That's really taken root with our daughter Grace. So she'll jump on the podcast in a minute and tell you about how she's applying that to her life. The boys, it's been helpful too. I feel like boys and girls have been very different for us. Our girls were very excited about calendars and cleaning their rooms and getting organized. Our boys, not so much, but they're getting there. So we did have some good practice with next actions, and it was really short because by that point they were kind of done doing worksheets and different activities. So we kept that short. And then part 5 is where I was working with each child individually to help them understand how to really use their calendar effectively, how to set a routines list, a current projects list, and their next actions list. I worked with each child separately. So Grace, I sat down with her first. She just did a beautiful job. She already had a planner, calendar she was using. We'll include photos on the show notes page. So it went really well with her. She's taken off. Ethan and Spencer both now are using their calendars more regularly. Spencer didn't even have a calendar, so we actually found one on Amazon, ordered that for him. He's now using that as a task list, and it still takes some practice for him. But you know what? I didn't have a calendar until I was 13. So 11, I think that's a good time for him to just start learning the basics, but it might not take off right away. And then Ethan has been using his calendar. We did set up his routines in Evernote, but our printer hasn't been working, so we need to fix that so we can get it printed for him. But my goal now is to sit down with my boys again, help print out their lists, help lock in the routines and projects and things a little bit more thoroughly, and then we'll move forward from there. But already just having this vocabulary where we can talk about what's a project, what's a routine, what goes on your calendar, and being able to help them take big, overwhelming projects and break them down to next actions, it's been wonderful. So just taking, I think we maybe spent 30 to 40 minutes together. It was well worth it. So go to the show notes page, print off the worksheet if you want it, or look at the photos of what we've done, or adapt this to meet the needs of your family. But I get so excited because when I think about the next generation knowing how to actually organize their lives, I feel so thrilling. Okay, we're going to jump in now and we'll talk with Grace. Want to say hi?
Hi.
She loves podcasting. But we spent some time just going over the basics of a Command Central, where I was teaching her about a current projects list, a next actions list, your routines list, and your calendar. Now, you use your calendar on your phone, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And then you have a schedule, though, that you put together. You use Ruth Soukup's Living Well, Spending Less planner.
Yes.
Which you love because of the color.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty. Has stickers.
So many stickers.
Like that. So Grace is an artist, so she loves making it beautiful, and you use markers or color
More
pencils.
exciting to plan instead of just black and white. So.
Yeah. So at the beginning of the week, you sit down and you just map out your schedule, any exercises or practices or things like that you have, and you write down homework assignment due dates. Is that right? Okay. So her phone calendar is for what? What do you keep on your phone calendar? Just appointments?
Yeah, like
Okay.
any certain set dates.
Okay. And then she's got a general weekly schedule on this paper planner. But then as we were talking about current projects, we did those on a sticky note.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. So we just took kind of a larger size sticky notes, the kind that's like about the size of your hand, and you put it inside the planner, just like the cover. Yeah. Okay. And we called it current projects. And then we have next actions that you decide to keep just in a right column of your planner. Okay, so super simple, and we just put it on Instagram. We'll include a picture with the podcast of how she made it. It's so pretty, really beautiful. And then one of the things I just wanted to share is how you actually implemented this already with your current projects. So last night, we actually got something done. Do you want to explain what that was?
So I've had my phone for 3 years, and I haven't emptied any of the pictures yet. So it's all my memories for the past 3 years, and I haven't backed it up. So
were you feeling a little stressed about
every
it?
time I thought about it during the week, it would just be like so much stress in this. And so I sat down, I wrote my calendar, got it planned out for next actions, and we did it last night. So now I don't have to worry about it.
That's awesome. Was it 4 years? Was it
4
years? I think it was almost 4 years. Okay,
yeah.
3.5, 4 years of photos. So you were feeling worried every time you dropped your phone.
For the past 4 years, yeah. You can't drop it because you might lose everything you had.
All of our trips, all your time with your friends, everything. And Grace, and you kept your photos down numbers-wise, right? Like you made sure you didn't have a lot of duplicates, and you always clean your photos. So these are your best photos that you had. So this was, kind of maybe keeping her awake sometimes. Probably you were like up all night worrying about it, but it was just like
something on my mind.
Constantly just something. And Grace has a lot on her mind. You're taking AP classes. You've got a lot going on. So it's just one more thing. I'm sure you guys can relate. So it was cute. Last night she came to me and she said, "Mom, my next action is just to talk to you and plug in my phone and get all the pictures onto the external hard drive." And she's like, "I've been stressed about it, but I just put out my current projects list and realized what my next action was." And so we got it done in, like half hour or something like that. And now your phone is all ready to be cleared.
Yep.
So, okay, felt really good.
Yes.
And then the last part was the routines. We put them on are you going to hang them in your room or put them on a Post-it note in your
room,
planner as well? Okay, in your room. So just having a routine set up, Grace is actually helping to run our Instagram account for Learn Do Become. So right now we're sitting down to put together a routine, and then you can put it on your routines list. You can create some calendar triggers if you need it.
Feel more relaxed when you get everything done.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep.
Okay, good job.
Go step.
I'm really grateful that Grace was willing to step outside her comfort zone to come join me on the podcast. She's been doing such a great job building her command central and getting all of her details organized. I loved her little go step at the end. She actually is really quite the cheerleader for the STEP program. She's been so excited as she's been seeing what the community's doing, and she's getting the testimonials ready to prepare to go on social media. It's been really exciting, and I love that you guys are being mentors for my children, helping to show them what's possible. So thank you. Now I want to just give some closing links, and then I'm going to transition, tell you a little bit more about what's going on here. If you want to learn more about our STEP program, where we teach people how to build a command central, it's learndobecome.com/STEP. Again, if you want the worksheet and the details for today's episode, go to learndobecome.com/episode 47. And our oldest daughter, Aaliyah, who is now in college, really loved STEP and created her own STEP for Students program. I really had nothing to do with the program. She built the entire thing. learndobecome.com/students. You can learn more there. I would like to close the podcast by just talking a little bit about what's happening behind the scenes here. If you've been following us for a while, you know we are working on 25,000 STEP command centrals. And I don't know how quickly it will happen, but I'm already getting so many emails and messages from people saying, I know it's going to happen. I'm going to be one. Our community is totally stepping up. People who maybe bought the STEP program years ago are now saying, okay, I'm serious. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to go build my command central. And people who are just part of our community are really coming to our free class, the one at learndobecome.com/STEP. They are utilizing our free resources. They're listening to the podcast. They're sending us photos and showing us their progress. And the excitement and the enthusiasm is amazing. I have on my current projects list to set up the page where we're going to start tracking the 25,000 command centrals, inviting people to fill out probably a Google form and show them where they can send in photos. I'm going to start printing out the photos that I've been receiving and putting them on my wall so I can see them. I'm really, really excited. So watch for that. That's coming soon. But also, I just want to share what happens physically to me when I'm working towards a big goal. I don't share this because I think that you need to know every detail of my life, but I know that a lot of you are going through similar things. And I know it's helpful sometimes to know that other people struggle the same way that you do. So I'm just going to share what my process looks like and the kind of resistance that I feel and then what I do about it. Not that it's perfect, but it's generally working. And I'm also open to new ideas that you're welcome to send in. I actually have had some time to really think over the past 24 hours, and I felt a lot of overwhelm lately. Not because I have lots of piles or lots of projects, but because I'm working on something that's bigger than anything that I have ever worked on before. And it's kind of like that feeling that if a seed had feelings, I would say, when the seed is about to burst out to start growing into what it's meant to become. But there's that resistance and there's that stress and there's all those worries. And total personal side note, I'm not going to put this on the website, but I'll just say it for the podcast because if you're listening this far into the podcast, that means you're probably my friend. Okay, so I get these weird stress rashes whenever there's something that's off for me. Right now it's on my left arm. I don't know why exactly. I've been trying to figure it out. But I have this weird stress rash on my left arm and then a little bit on my neck, and I'm like, something is totally off. So I love Dr. Burns's book, Feeling Good. And I sat down. Now I'm feeling embarrassed. Why did I tell the whole world about my stress rashes? Okay, I'm going to keep going. So I sat down to do a mood log this morning and was trying to identify why I'm feeling overwhelmed. And typically what Dr. Burns recommends is that you think of one point in time when you felt that anxiety or stress, and then you record what the thoughts were that were going through your mind at that time. So that's what I did. So the first thought is that I'm supposed to be growing and making this bigger. And I wrote down, it's a calling that is painful, but it's time to step up and be a leader. But then I wrote down all these other thoughts like, well, that means that I have to be really skinny, like abnormally skinny, because everybody who is successful and who is out there is clearly very skinny. Okay, I'm just going to keep telling you all my weird thoughts. And I have to make a lot of public appearances, and I have to have better hair and better clothes, and I have to leave my family a lot to do media stuff. And I have to have my nails done, and I have to have big eyelashes, and I have to be an entertainer. And what if I don't do a good job? And what if God inspires me and then he tells me all these great things and then I fail? And what if I'm not cut out for something like this and people will think I'm stupid? That was my stream of consciousness. Okay, but I have my little notebook in front of me. I'm going to share what I started writing instead. Okay, so the first thought, and I'm just sharing these with you honestly because I'm just hopeful it will be helpful to you. I don't want to embarrass myself, but I think one of my strengths is I'm willing to talk about where I'm weak, and I hope that that's helpful to you. So thought number one was that one about how my calling is painful, but it's time to step up and be a leader. So what I wrote instead was, it's not a painful calling, it's that I'm resisting what is. And that's one of the main themes that I learned, or one of the main lessons I learned in the book, The Power of Now, that I really enjoyed. And I didn't agree with everything in the book, but there's a lot that I learned from it. Is that he said, all anxiety is resistance. And I've realized that I am here to help people stop drowning in piles. I felt very clearly a call from my higher power. I was standing in my closet. I don't know if I've shared this on the podcast before, but I was standing in my closet one time and I just felt a little voice say, April, will you help my children not to feel overwhelmed? And it was very clear, like, this is your mission. And I remember just standing in my closet and just thinking, yes, I will. I'll help. I know how to do that. See how I'm sharing even now I have other overwhelm and I'm trying to get out of it. That's why I'm trying to share this with you now. But I know that this is a really important purpose. And all of these distortions, all of these thoughts that are coming to me, they are not helping me. I need to figure out what the distortions are. But it's like a seed trying to stay closed. And when I resist that, and when you resist that, when there's more to you, but you're trying to resist it and remain closed, if every seed remained closed, what would be lacking? Really, the world would cease to exist. We have to have plants and oxygen and food. And we as humans, we have to open, and we can't resist what we're meant to do. Number two was, that means I have to be skinnier. Okay, this is what I wrote instead. I choose to care for my body because I cherish it. But I'm now in my 40s and really could be a grandmother soon. But regardless of age, I don't have to have an abnormally skinny body to live my purpose. I actually really love my body. I'm happy when I'm home and with my family and I'm exercising or out on a walk, and when I'm eating all my vegetables that I love and my healthy food, I'm really happy. But I still get triggered when I see what society calls the perfect body. I still have a hard time with that. But I'm learning that living my purpose doesn't have anything to do with being super skinny, especially since I'm teaching people how to organize papers and clutter. No one's coming to me to see how they can become a size 0 or something like that. All right, third thought, I kind of combined them. One of them was I have to make a lot of public appearances, and the other one is I need to leave my family a lot to do media appearances, because I thought, well, I clearly can't grow this as big as it needs to be unless I'm out all the time trying to get on the national stage. But here's just what I wrote, very simply. I can build a strong, thriving movement while being home with my family. There is no rule that says I have to go everywhere. I believe that I can do videos and podcasts and trainings and all kinds of awesome things from my house and from my computer. All right, number 4 was, and I have to have better hair and clothes. And then what I wrote down was, hello, podcasts and blogs. If you saw what I look like right now, you would not be super impressed. I'm totally in my pajamas. I have no makeup on. My hair is really messy. I am not fancy. But does it matter? Does that change your experience listening to the podcast? Does it make you feel disappointed in me because I'm not wearing earrings right now? All right, number 5. I also have to have my nails done and big eyelashes and be an entertainer. Okay, some people, that's what I wrote down, some people like doing their nails and having eyelashes. I prefer not to. I tried getting my nails done for a few months. I don't like it. I don't like doing it. I feel like I was always looking at my nails. Now I don't look at them anymore and I feel much better. So for me, that's okay. Not everyone has to do that. All right, number 6 was, and what if I don't do a good job? And what if God inspires me and tells me all these great things and I fail? So here's what I wrote. We learn from our experiences. We actually cannot accurately label wins and losses because we never know. But movement in the direction to which we feel inspired is success. God is not here to set us up for success and then pull the rug out from under us. And then number 7, I wrote, I'm not cut out for something like this. And then I wrote, that is 100% not true, and that is not from God. Those feelings that you have as you're moving forward on something that you feel inspired to do, those feelings telling you you're not cut out for that, I mean, sometimes we have to make a pivot. That's all right. But when you know you're meant to do something and then you stop and you say, I'm not cut out for this, that's a lie. If I sit still and I ask God what I need to be doing on a professional level right now, this is it. I know it seems so crazy, but building these 25,000 Command Centrals, I have been preparing for this since I was a little girl. I was the one that couldn't wait to get my Franklin planner when I was 13. And I gave planner tours all through high school. And I went to Franklin Covey seminars, now they were Franklin Quest at the time when I was 17. And when Franklin Quest and the Covey Leadership Center merged, my college roommate cut out the newspaper article and I taped it to my wall. And she wrote on it with marker, quote from April, I cried tears of joy because I couldn't decide which planner I liked the best. And when they merged, I was so happy. Now it's just Franklin Planner and the Covey Leadership Center is separate. I was so happy. And one other funny thing I was remembering is that when Eric and I first met, we went to this fundraiser. It was out at a golf course, and we were helping like direct cars that were parking for this big fundraiser golf tournament. And I had left my planner in his car. And then he was taken up to a higher parking lot, and I stayed in the lower parking lot. And then I had to leave. I had a class that day. And my planner was still in his car, and he had the keys, and it was locked, and I couldn't get it. So I had to go back home and go back to school and go to my class, and I didn't have my planner, and I was so worried. It was before the days of cell phones, so I couldn't text him, but he did have a pager. So I went to this office at school that had a computer, and I emailed his pager. This was back in 1998, and I said something like, hey, Eric, I left my planner in your car. If you don't mind returning it to me this evening when you get home. And then I signed it plannerlessly, April. So the first message I ever sent to Eric, plannerlessly. Anyway, planners and organizing and having structure, and then now actually building a Command Central, which will get you out of any pile. Like, I am made for this. This is what my whole life, really, like the past 25, 30 years, have been preparing me to do. And then the last one I wrote down was, people will think I'm stupid. Some of you might be like, yes, amen. But here's what I wrote. Okay, I was listening to a recording with Oprah and Brene Brown. And Oprah had told Brene, something like, you cannot live your mission without disappointing some people. And that's so hard for me. It's so hard for me. Even part of me thinks, I don't want to put a podcast out there that might be a waste of time for someone. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I want to make sure that the things I'm sharing are actually really helpful. So sometimes I get stressed even just putting podcasts out there, or even sending an email to our community, because I just think, oh, am I going to waste anyone's time? Aaliyah, our older daughter, she does some customer service for us here at Learn, Do, Become. And one day she forwarded me this really beautiful email. A lot have been coming in, and I so appreciate them. And with the email at the beginning of her little forward, she said, "Aren't you glad we only send you the nice emails?" And part of me was like, yes. And part of me is thinking, what are people saying? Why are they so mean? And then I'm realizing, you know what? It's not that people are mean. It's that people are stressed. And sometimes there's things that stress them out. I get it. And sometimes they might want to take it out on us. I understand. So, but it reminded me back in 2012, I had a post called "Your Children Want You" at Power of Moms. And it went viral. So we had like 1 million people come to our website in 2 days. It was a little crazy. And we got, I think, 1,000 comments on that blog post. And Eric was reading through the comments and approving them as they came in. And he said, "April, just don't go in the trash bin and don't read any of the comments that I deleted. You won't want to do that." So I didn't, except I saw a few that did come in because I had been helping. And so funny is that they are like seared in my memory. All these mean words that I read. That's sad. I mean, there were probably 950 that were really nice, and then maybe 50 that were really mean. And I remember the mean ones so easily. So if you're thinking mean thoughts about me right now, please don't send it. But I remember one of them, because "Your Children Want You" was about enjoying our children. It was like saying goodbye to my mom who had Alzheimer's and really trying to be present with my children. And someone posted, "Enjoy your kids," said the mom on her blog. And I'm like, really? Really? Oh, sometimes it's hard, but sometimes when I think, well, if I really stand up and live my mission, I'm opening myself up to people be so critical and so unkind. And I think most people are good, but sometimes it's just hard when people want to say things that aren't right for you, to you. And I think I have the approval addiction where I really care that I get other people's approval, and I need to work on that because I just can't. I don't think I can grow if I'm trying to please everyone. So really, okay, that's all. I'll close that up. I just wanted to be able to share my heart a little bit here at the end. I love what we're doing here. I love trying to be helpful to you. I love trying to be helpful to my family. I'm still learning a lot. Sometimes I wonder, why would God want me to reach for something so big? And why would God want me to try to stand up and be more of a help and more of a leader when I have so many weaknesses still? Like, why don't I wait until I'm stronger in a lot of these areas? And I mean, guys, I'm reading books and doing trainings and talking to coaches, and like, I really want to be able to master the things that are hard for me. Like, I really want that, but I'm not there yet. But I do have a plan in place and I do know how to help you to get rid of every pile in your life. Like, I have no piles in my life, and that's what enables me to be able to focus on my family and on helping you. I'm really trying to take care of myself so I can be better for you. I really love this community. I can't even tell you, just in the last couple days, I've had like 5 or 6 really nice emails that have come in of people who are saying, hey, this is helping me. I'm doing better. I'm feeling less stress. I'm getting organized. I love that. And let's keep it up. So again, anything that you need related to today's podcast, come to learndobecome.com/episode 47. Love you. We'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.